Good morning. Good morning. Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to another episode and another version of the Spin Zone. It is the weekend. We are coming off of an absolutely beautiful Friday. VIP stuff that Sharpie and I gave out on the show. It was a great, great day. Even better, finally see that mythical ball in the sky known as the sun here in Minnesota. So it is looking to be a great weekend. So yours truly in a great mood today, and we got a whole lot to get to. So we will start by reviewing yesterday. No official show for me yesterday. When I realized, because I'm on the Walking Dead with Sharpie every Friday, and we realized that we literally were going to be talking about the same guys saying the same stuff. It really just made more sense to just have one, to avoid being repetitive and really just kind of getting into the same content. So, but on there, we talked about six guys. We stressed two of them in particular. Both of those hit with ease, and those two were Mr. Joe Ryan and Mr. Robbie Ray. So Joe Ryan, I the Red Sox did change their lineup shortly before first pitch, and they put a lot more lefties in. And Ryan had a huge disparity in K percentage from lefties to righties for this year. However, my guy Sharpie did point out, and I went back and looked, is that if you saw the lefties that he faced, they were elite lefties, absolutely elite. I mean, you got like Stephen Kwan and Vinny Pascantino and Kyle Isbell and just contact after contact after contact guy. The Red Sox lefties, from a contact perspective, not even close to that. So the learning here, and I actually made a note for myself because, even though I've been doing this for as long as I have and have had as much success as I have, I'm still learning too, is that when you see a disparity like that, you should go back and look individual hitter by hitter and see who are the left-handed hitters that he's faced. And, if he's faced kind of a smattering of guys, okay, maybe that's something. If he's faced a bunch of bums, that's something to really pay attention to. And if he's faced the kind of guys that Joe Ryan had faced, okay, it makes a lot of sense. So it's a pain, but when you dig like that, that's where you found your answer. Joe Ryan hit the Red Sox up for 8. So pretty easily cleared the line of 6.5. That got us some nice plus money. The other one was, we talked about it ad nauseum yesterday. Robbie Ray, it wasn't a ladder. It wasn't a ladder spot. I thought it might be at first, but then they put Miller and they put Trejo at the bottom of the lineup, and that ended up being the thing for me where I said, like, if you're gonna ladder it, because we did play it in VIP, we won. But the other one was, it was more of not necessarily playing a ladder, but maybe taking an optional shot on a 9+, which he actually didn't hit. But Robbie Ray just was pounding the strike zone early, pounding the strike zone on these Rockies. They clearly had a scouting report to take. And I give Sam Huff credit, not the normal catcher for the Giants, but he did call a really, really good game. Called a lot of early just fastballs just right in the zone, and noticing that the Rockies were taking a lot. And then once you do that and you get them taking and thinking fastball, then you start whipping out your chase stuff. And that's where you saw there were some of those sliders where those hitters didn't even have a chance. Man, the Rockies are in terrible shape. Man, if there's any Rockies fans or anybody from Colorado that follows the team listening, like, I feel for you, because that team just is so devoid of talent. I feel bad for them. So elsewhere is one thing that I learned that I'm going to pay real close attention to, and if you go back and look at results, it does match up, is that I've talked on here before about road Christopher Sanchez being a thing when it comes to strikeouts. Let's talk about road Dylan Cease. Struggled through 4 innings, and just racked up his pitch count. Just had like almost 85, 90 pitches in the 4 innings. Wasn't hitting his slider at all. His 4-seamer wasn't really, the velo on it was a little down, but it just didn't look right. So we ended up throwing that game out because of some of the weather concerns. But in the end, Dylan Cease, if you go back and look at some of his road performances, it's just not even close to what it is at home. So we are going to be taking a look at road Dylan Cease, maybe even for an under, especially against some more decent contact teams. So that was something else that I picked up on from yesterday, and I think that was close to about it. We talked about a few other guys, like we talked about Hunter Green. They ended up playing that game, and he ended up getting there. And then Tarik Skubal would be the last one. Gave that out in VIP too. That one hit, and it was actually pretty funny. I don't know if you watched that game or not, but they pulled him after 70 some pitches, but he easily had cleared that number. Was firing 100 early. And if you watch the start, if you watch the second time that he struck out Neto, the two of them were like, they were like talking shit. They were like talking shit to each other, man. Like it was actually, it was pretty funny. They were just barking at each other, walking to the dugout. I'm not really sure what exactly it was about because I watched it with the sound off, but it was a lot of fun. So what a day. Sharpie, my man, welcome in, my partner in crime. We want Friday again. Yes, we do. We want Friday every single time. Sharpie also saying they capped him at 6 innings. There was no reason to pull him after 70 pitches. Nope, there definitely was not. No reason to pull him after 70 pitches. Other than if he had an innings cap on him, because he was just humming. Had they let him go, he might have been able. He might have been able to get up 10 to 11. Roger, welcome in, my guy. Hit the parlay of Ryan and Skubal. Yep, we played that in VIP as well. Or Ray. Well, you know what? You could have played all of them. It wouldn't have made a difference. Every single one of them won. That's how awesome yesterday was. Welcome in, go get them. Morning to you as well. And Adams, yep, that's what we did. I know Sharpie swept the board. I know that we did in VIP as well. It was a beautiful, beautiful Friday. If you played everything, if you were in VIP, you finished up close to 6 units yesterday, just on yesterday alone. I also got to give a shout out to Paul Goldschmidt, because I normally only give out strikeout props, but did give out Yankees first 5 team total over yesterday. And their offense was just anemic up until the 5th inning, when at the buzzer, it was walk, base hit, and then Goldie just belted one. So it was that kind of night. They don't come around as often as we'd like them to, but we take advantage of them when they do. But that said, we got work to do today, so let's get to it. We got 3 pitchers to talk about today. Obviously, if you have any other ones, you can feel free to put those in the comments, and we'll make sure to get to them. The first guy is Mr. Hunter Brown, striking people out at a 27.5% rate with a 5.2% walk rate. He gets the White Sox first pitch at 2:10 p.m. And we have a little blast off on this line. Hunter Brown hasn't been at a 6.5 since April 9th, when he was against the Mariners and didn't even come close. And has been at a 5.5 and a 4.5, albeit against very, very low strikeout teams with the Cardinals, the Blue Jays, and the Royals. But we get a little rocket on this line today, especially for him being on the road, for a 6.5 at plus 100 with an under 6.5 at minus 130. So Hunter Brown, overall, Hunter Brown spends his time a little bit more in the zone than not, 50.5%, which is slightly above pitcher average. He does generate a very, very healthy amount of low zone contact at 78.7%. He also gets guys, he gets guys to chase, but doesn't necessarily get chase whiff, allowing 62.4% chase whiff, or chase contact, I should say. Chase whiff would be better. which is above pitcher average. Now, you look at Brown, and when this man has his fastball working, when this man is under control, he can be absolutely dominant. Four-seam fastball gets up to 97.2. I've told this story about how I've listened to a few Astros games where the announcers kind of tease him and give him shit because they asked him if he's ever thrown 100 in a game, and he gets like all pouty and says no, but that's like one of his goals this year is to hit 100 on the gun in a game. He's gotten it up to 99 before. He's gotten really close, but he can rear back and just blast you. If we're looking at Hunter Brown on our clock, we do see that he attacks with a cutter and a sinker and a four-seamer in the 12-2 range up here at the top of the zone. Changeup goes the same place. And then he's got this big sweeping curve that is almost a 12-6. Sometimes it looks like a traditional 12-6, but it drops down in the 5-7 range down here. It can look like a traditional 12-6, but it also comes in at 13 miles lower than the four-seam fastball does. So fastball, sinker, cutter, pound, pound, pound up in the zone, and then whoop, and then that is how he gets whiffs. Now, where Hunter Brown has had some problems is when he has walked himself out of games. He can rack up his pitch count. He can let things snowball that in past years. Now, this year, it hasn't really happened a lot with his 5.2% walk rate. He's only given up 2+ walks twice. Once was to the Cardinals and once was to the Mets. White Sox aren't really walking a ton this year. And we go, I'm going to bring up the swing chart, which has all the metrics that are updated through yesterday. So this is all through yesterday for the last 2 weeks. So this would be the period of April 19th through May 2nd. So we look at the White Sox and we do see that where they struggle is zone contact, 83%. It's been this way pretty much for the entire season. And this is what you want when you're facing Hunter Brown. He operates in the zone above league average. He also makes you miss more than pitchers do in that zone. You also look at the White Sox and you see that they have a first pitch strike percentage of 63.9, which is above league average. When Hunter Brown gets into pitchers counts, when he gets into an 0-1 count, his strikeout percentage does go up into the mid 30s. When he gets an 0-2 count, it goes up near 50. So if these White Sox are going to put themselves in that position, the 6.5 line to me makes a whole lot of sense. Now, I go and I look at the projected lineup, which as of this moment is projected to be 4 lefties, 5 righties. It's a lot of the guys that I might expect. There's a few in here that I'm not really sure if they are going to be in the lineup or not. So I am going to wait to make a final decision. But if this is who we get, I'm going up and down the line, and I see from a lack of zone contact, Benintendi is under, Luis Robert is under, the Quiero is a kid, so not a whole lot of stuff to go off of with him. But I see that Vargas is under, Palacios is under. Palacios is way under, actually. Brooks Baldwin is under. You see where I'm going with this. Really, you have 5 guys in this lineup, specifically towards the bottom, that are under league average in zone contact. You also have a few of these guys that like to swing in the zone as well. So league average for swinging in the zone is about 66.3%. And you do have, for some of those guys that are under, like Robert, like Benintendi, and like a few other ones, they all swing higher than that. So Hunter Brown has a really, really good chance here with this over, especially if this is the lineup that we get. The other thing that I'm looking at is for his outs. His outs are up. So they're up, but they're juiced. Now, normally Hunter Brown's outs are 17.5 with a juice on the over. That's not the case today. Today, they're at 18.5 with heavy, heavy juice on the under. So you might think, well, is that the same thing? Because really what it's saying is he's going to go 6 innings. Yes and no. That's technically what it's saying. But I've found that when the outs go up, especially when you're especially when you're looking at a road pitcher, it looks for it typically that means that there's a better chance he's going to go over that number than under. If this was at home, I wouldn't pay it as much a mind. But all of a sudden, when he hasn't hit 19 outs once, he's hit it once this year. That was against Toronto. Otherwise, it's just been 18 the whole way. Is that all of a sudden they raise the line to 18.5. Part of it could be the White Sox tax. Part of it could be because the White Sox aren't very good. But it's interesting that they do it on the road. Hits are down from his last 2 starts from 5.5 to 4.5. Opponent could have something to do with that. Walks is at a 1.5. Earned runs at a 1.5 as well. So I'm going to wait to see a final lineup for this one, but there's a lot of things that make me like an over here for Hunter Brown. The sudden line blast. I expected it to be 5.5, probably be a little too low for this situation. Maybe you could have gone a 5.5 and just juice the over at like minus 180, minus 190, something like that. But the jump to 6.5 with a very, very bettable price and the jump in outs, even though the juice is on the under, tell me that there's some circumstances here that say that Mr. Hunter Brown might have a pretty good day. So waiting for the lineup, waiting to see what the final construction is, and waiting to see on what the zone contact in this lineup is. But he's one I have a heavy eye on right now. All right. From Hunter Brown, we move on to Mr. Aaron Nola. So Nola striking people out at a 24.7% rate with an 8% walk rate. He gets the Diamondbacks at 6:05 p.m. And you have a very, very similar line to what Hunter Brown had, albeit 1 strikeout less, with an over 5.5 at plus 100 and an under 5.5 at minus 130. All books are pretty much right around there. So I'm going to look at Nola, and he's just been churning it out. So averaging 6.17 strikeouts per game. He's hit this number in every start except for 1. Most starts, in a few of the starts, he only gets 6, but he does get there. Now, when I look at running anything with the Diamondbacks, and I'm going to give a shout out to Sharpie because he actually put me on this earlier in the year, is that they have a few guys in this lineup that chase like crazy. They do a lot of chase. So I look at Nola, and when you throw the pitches that Nola does, you do generate a lot of chase. So that's what happens when you throw a knuckle curve as your primary pitch. Nola generating a 35.1% chase rate, even though he's in the zone higher than pitcher average, and his overall chase contact right around league average. But that 35.1% chase rate is what I'm focusing in on here, because when I go to the projected lineup for the Diamondbacks, I do see 6 lefties and 3 righties. And of those guys that are in the projected lineup, when I'm looking at how much these guys are going to chase, is that I see Carroll has a lot of chase. I see that Ketel Marte is over in chase. I see that Gurriel is over in chase. I see that I think there's 1 or 2 more that are projected to be in, that are over in the chase area, in the chase department. So even though some of these, you think about Corbin Carroll with leadoff hitter, and he was kind of the darling when they made their World Series run. His contact metrics are not good this year. In fact, they haven't really been good since his rookie season, since that first season. That World Series year. I mean, he's chasing 36% of the time, which is almost 10% above league average, and he's making contact under league average. So there's some potential here. You also go and you see that there is some history with Nola against these guys. And I go and I look, and this is especially true because they face each other, obviously, in the regular season and in the postseason. But I see that he's gotten Geno Suarez 6 times in 21 plate appearances. He's gotten Gurriel 4 times in 13 plate appearances. He's gotten Naylor a few times, and he's gotten Ketel Marte 4 and 14. Now, he's only got Carroll 2 out of 15. But this is something that I'm trying to pay more attention to, is that 2 times in 15 plate appearances. Looking at that in a vacuum, it doesn't really look like Corbin Carroll would be a high strikeout candidate. looking at Corbin Carroll's metrics this year compared to what Nola's are, you think, it's probably a little bit better, because if I just looked at that in a vacuum, I would probably assign him a value of a 0.25, which is the lowest value that I assign, basically just saying like highly unlikely that he will strike out. Now looking at that and looking at some of Carroll's metrics, I would probably bump it up to a 0.5. I probably wouldn't go as high as 0.75, but I would for sure bump it up to a 0.5. When you go hitter by hitter and you start doing that and you start doing that kind of math, that's where you find those little advantages where then all of a sudden it starts adding up and you're like, my raw math, I'm coming up a 6. I'm coming up a 6 with a potential for, 6.5 or 7. Those are the kinds of things that you have to compare and you have to ask yourself, is the version of Aaron Nola this year facing the same version of Corbin Carroll, as an example? There's other ones too, that was from previous years. That's why it helps so much to go back to previous years and not just say, what is his chase contact this year, but what is it from previous years? You go back and you look and you see Corbin Carroll used to be, to start with, was one of those high contact, low K guys. Not the same this year. It's just not the same this year. So, I have a lean here. That Nola could get to 6. I'm not sure if it's something that I would want to invest a ton in. The bigger question for me is, because I've seen it on multiple places, different which ways, is that will this game go? Will this game be completed? Will Nola get his start without a delay? There is a 60% chance of rain. Most of the radar that I've looked at say that there could be some passing showers, passing storms. Maybe they start the game late. But whenever you're on an over in a game where there could be rain, you always have to be concerned about it. You always have to check the radar right before first pitch, because if all of a sudden there's a shower and you're saying the third or fourth inning, and all of a sudden they have an hour and a half rain delay, he ain't coming back out. They aren't bringing him back out for a regular season game against the Diamondbacks. That's just not going to happen. So you have to pay attention to those things. I'm going to be watching the radar for this one. Not sure where I want to go with this one yet, but they're just in a vacuum. If this is the lineup that the Diamondbacks run, there are a few opportunities that we can have here to get to this over. I just want to say what's up quick to Lucas. Welcome in. Thank you for joining, my friend. Appreciate you. Same thing with Uncle Stoner. Appreciate you, my guy. And go get him saying low whiff rate with Brown's four seam and changeup. No, not necessarily. That's where if you're going to go that route, that's where you got to go back and you got to look at some of the pitchers that they faced. And aside from Freddie Peralta, who didn't even look that good, if you go back and look at the right-handers that they faced prior to this year, literally the best pitcher that they faced prior to Peralta was Gavin Williams. The right-handers that they have faced are just an absolute bunch of trash, like an absolute bunch of trash. It's just a bunch of has-beens, never will be's. I mean, it's guys like Osvaldo Bido and Ben Lively, and also you also have to go look at those guys' velocity. So very, very few, if and the only guy that throws at the same velo that Brown does, that they have faced really for the entire season from the right-handed side of the plate, is Gavin Williams, and he torched him for 7. So otherwise, you go and look at some of these guys' velo, like Luis Severino and David Festa and some of these other guys, Bailey Ober. I love them, but I mean, they're twins and I love them, but they're throwing 93 to 94. Brown's popping them in at 99. So not necessarily an apples to oranges comparison. But yeah, I would take a look at what they've done against velo guys, because even Freddie Peralta is not a velo fastball guy. He can run it up there to 95, 96, but he's more of a 92, 93, and then gets you with all of his stuff out of the zone. What's up to X Million? Welcome in. And Russell, I'll say what's up to Sosa too. He's not here, but I'll say what's up to him too. He might be watching. Because but Sosa, wherever you're at, what's up, my guy? And like I posted on X yesterday, all these graphics that you see were created by Sosa. I can't take credit for these. I didn't make these. So Sosa made all these, made the logo, made the intro. So all these pretty things that I have here at my disposal are due to that guy. So shout out to Sosa for that. All right, onward, and every time he starts, you know he's going to be on this show. Big Jack Flaherty. Striking guys out at 28.8% clip, walking guys at 8.3%, which is a little on the concerning side. Gets the Angels, who are coming off of getting absolutely torched last night by Tarik Skubal before he exited. And this game is the last one of the night, 9:38 p.m. And you got Jack laying a heavy number for an over 6.5, minus 150. And an under of plus 115. So we'll just take that under right off the table, right to start with. I mean, you can see where the Angels are here on the swing metrics chart. Their chase contact, their zone contact, their swinging strike, everything is just absolutely horrendous. So yeah, that's just not happening. So under is off the table. Now the question becomes, do you play the over or do you just leave Big Jack alone? And so looking at some of his road starts this year, you might say, oh, leave him alone because he's 0 for 3 to this number against three teams that at the time were not striking out a whole bunch. So the Astros, high contact metrics to begin with. The Dodgers did have that early to start the season at the time. And the Brewers game, he didn't look right that game at all. I actually played the over on that game and got burned by it. So he didn't look right at all. So 9-9-7 in 3 home starts, 5-4-4, but now we get the Angels tax plus a little bit extra here, and we get Jack at a 6.5. So what do we know about Jack Flaherty? Number one, I've told you this over and over again, is that his 4-seam fastball is not dominating. It's not really designed to get guys at the plate to get strikeouts. It's only got for the season a 12.5% whiff rate, which is down considerably from last year when it was at 23.9. The velo on it only around 93. He can run it up to 94, 95 when he needs to, but that's not what Jack does. Jack's pitches in a way where he's going to set you up with that fastball to get some fouls, potentially even get you, just get a take here and there for a strike, because he wants to set you up with the slider and the knuckle curve. Those are his main 2 pitches. 35.2 and 48.5% whiff rate respectively. They're nasty, guys. When they're working, they're nasty. And the best thing that I like about him is that when he's working on the clock again, is that the fastball, the sinker, the changeup all go this way in the 12-1 range. But then over here, you have the slider that goes in the 9-11 range over here. And then you have the curveball that drops low and away in the 7-8 range. So he works almost around the clock. He uses almost the whole thing and changes speeds and changes spin rate. They're 2 gross pitches, I'll tell you that. And when they're working, they can be strikeout machines. Now, in doing that, Jack does operate in the zone under league average. The slider and the curve typically sail out of the zone. He does need to get guys to chase. So I go and I look at this projected Angels lineup right now, which as of the moment is projected to be relatively close to what last night's were. Last night's was with 2 lefties and 7 righties. And I see a lot of the same faces last night that Tarik Skubal torched. I do see the guys that were I say tough ones to get, but Ward struck out twice last night. Sean Yule won't. But then you get the fun part of the lineup, because if we get these last basically 5 through 9, 5 through 9 minus Rengifo. If we get O'Hoppe, D'Arnaud, Adell, and Paris, oh my. Road challenges aside, Jack could end up having a really, really, really good night, because you look at these Angels chase metrics and you see that Adell chases above league average and doesn't make contact. You see that Paris chases above league average and makes horrendous contact. You see that O'Hoppe chases above league average and makes horrendous contact. And you also see that I believe one more, D'Arnaud does chase above league average, as does Rengifo, as does I think Shaniel does. No, Shaniel doesn't chase. That's it. But anyways, 4 guys right off the bat that just make horrendous chase contact and that do chase. Those are 4 strikeouts waiting to happen right there for Flaherty if this is what the lineup ends up becoming. I would prefer if of Neto, Shanuel, and Rengifo, I would prefer if one of them isn't in. I don't necessarily know if we're going to get that, but I would if Shaniel's out, and these other guys are in, it becomes almost a must play. I'm not sure why they would do that, because Shaniel's a lefty, so I'm assuming they'd have him in to face Flaherty. But I'm just asking the gambling powers that be to maybe help us out with that one. So Shaniel will be a dead spot, but O'Hoppe is good for 1. D'Arnaud's good for 1. Adell's good for 1. Paris is good for 1. Soler is good for 1. So that gives you 4 to 5 right off the bat. And then you're going to ask him to get 2 more against everybody else when there's a little bit of history against these guys, not too bad. So you got Soler, 4 Ks and 11 plate appearances. You got Neto, 2 Ks and 5 plate appearances. You have Rengifo, he hasn't gotten. Shaniel, he hasn't gotten. So those would be deader spots. Adell, he's gotten 1 out of 2. So plenty of strikeouts to be had. I see why the line is set the way it is. Before you decide if you want to pay this tax, what I would do, I would definitely, as I've said before with the Angels, wait on the lineup. The guys you don't want, if you're looking to back Mr. Flaherty here, is you don't want Shanuel, even though I'm pretty sure that you're going to get him. You'd prefer not to have Neto, and you'd prefer not to have Rengifo. Those 3 are, if any one of those 3 is out from what's in the projected right now, Flaherty can be very playable. The guys you want are Soler, O'Hoppe, Adell, and Paris. Those 4. If those 4 are in, then that's potentially 4, maybe 5 strikeouts just from those guys across his start. Because I look at some of Flaherty's other props, and I do see that his outs are at 17.5, which is what it usually is. Earned runs is heavily juiced at the under 2.5. Hits are at 4.5, heavily juiced to the under. All those look pretty normal. So that's what I'm looking at for Jack Flaherty. Haven't made a decision yet. Don't know how I'm going to roll with him. It's going to depend on the lineup construction for the Angels. So give Shanuel a night off. He's deserved it, right? Give Shanuel and Rengifo nights off. They've deserved it. They can rest for tonight. So that's what you're looking for if you're looking for Flaherty. Go get him, saying big Jack ladder time. Paris, Soler, Ward, Neto all could get 2 tonight. Yeah. You said ring. Okay, good. Okay, good. You didn't say Rengifo. I'm like, no, Rengifo's not striking out twice. Neto could. He's got the chase, but he also makes chase contact, and I think he 2 out of 5 against Flaherty. So yeah, he definitely could get him. It could be a. I would feel, not that I'm not going to play it, but I would feel a lot more comfortable if Shanuel or Rengifo were not in this lineup. All right. Roger asking, thoughts on Bubic versus the O's? Yeah, that's an interesting one. So the Orioles, obviously offense has been blah lately. Has been very, very blah lately. And so you look at it and you would assume that it would be an over spot to look. But what I'm seeing with Bubic right now is that they dropped him for no discernible reason, and I got to figure out why. So he's hit 5+ in 5 out of 6 starts. He's only coming off of missing his 5.5 against the Astros, which is very forgivable. And then you drop him. It's 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 weird. It's weird. It possibly could be because of the impending rain. There's a 76% chance of rain at some point here. Now, when I go and look at games that are expected to be rained out, this game has now been moved from possible delay to likely delay. So that could be the case. I would actually just make sure that this game's even going to go, because as of right now, the more the weather forecast gets updated, it looks like this one won't even go. So that's probably the reason why the line was dropped, because the weather. So it's looking like this game's either going to be delayed or they're just going to outright postpone it. Other games that are looking to potentially be rained out at this point are the Dodgers and the Braves, the Nationals and the Reds, the Pirates and the Padres, and then you have possible rain. I already talked about it out in Philly, Boston, Minnesota, St. Louis, New York. So could be some weather, could be some washouts across the country, but still should have plenty of time or plenty of bets to get in. All right, so. Other ones that I am looking at from just and these are just leans for me. These are just ones where if you wanted action on like sides, totals, etc., is that and some of these I had notes on them, but seeing the weather report, that kind of takes that one out. So I had the Nationals as one of them, but I'm not sure if that game's going to go. So if you're looking for a plus money one for today, I might look at the Rangers today. And yes, I know it's Patrick Corbin Day, but Patrick Corbin as a favorite actually has some really, really good history. So Patrick Corbin plus 114, or the Rangers plus 114 against Seattle. That would be my one that I would lean for, given all the weather situations. And then if you're looking at a total, then I would also lean the over 9 or 8.5 or 9 in that same game. Patrick Corbin being a reason why as well. And then the other one would be the over 9.5 out in New York. So with the Yankees and the Rays. And then I also think that you can look at an Angels team total under, or the under 8.5 out in Anaheim tonight. All right. That's going to do it for us. I see that. We see the White Sox lineup dropped. No Kiro. Face isn't. Oh, good. That might explain the line. Face is not very good. All right, I'm going to run that real quick. So, best of luck to everybody. If you are tailing, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't yet, please make sure to subscribe to Daily Bread Network. Please make sure to give me a follow at Spin Doc Sports. Appreciate everybody in the chat today. Go get them. Roger, X Million, Russell, Uncle Stoner, Lucas, Adams, Roger, and of course, my partner in crime, my guy Sharpie. So much respect for that man, for what he does for Strikeout Props. If you're following me, you need to be following him at Sharpie's Bets. Otherwise, not sure we can be the best of friends. No, well, I'm only half kidding. All right, everybody, have a great, wonderful, beautiful Saturday. Have a wonderful weekend. No show tomorrow on Sundays, but we're back with you on Monday. We'll see you then.